Okay, Mr. Udell here with a video on the iron triangle, something we learned about in class over the last couple days. I guess I could have labeled that for you. This is the iron triangle in all white on white. The iron triangle. So the iron triangle is a symbiotic relationship between three groups in our governmental system that all tend to benefit each other and unfortunately don't necessarily benefit the United States as a whole. So we have these three groups. We've talked about this before, but to give you some more specifics, I've chosen these three to represent our groupings. Congress. In Congress, we talked about members getting on specialized committees in areas that are very important to them. The E&C is the Energy and Commerce Committee of the House of Representatives. So these would be people that would be very interested in oil, coal, nuclear, and to a lesser extent, wind and solar power. In this particular case, we're going to use as our interest groups the oil industry, like ExxonMobil. ExxonMobil obviously has interests in the way it gets money from the government. It gets lots of tax breaks and subsidies, and it would like to preserve all these benefits it gets from the government. And then lastly, we would have, lastly we would have the United States Department of Energy. The Department of Energy are the bureaucrats, or the people who technically are enforcing the laws. They are enforcing the laws in the United States of America in such a way that is supposed to benefit all Americans. So what's going to happen here? As we discussed in class, ExxonMobil has all the interest in the world in sending electoral support over to members of Congress, because if we can get members of Congress elected who are friendly to our interests, then it's very likely that these members of Congress will give us legislation that makes us happy. And I'm still doing white on white. And I'm drawing arrows in the wrong direction. At any rate, so what Congress is going to give to ExxonMobil then in return is ExxonMobil is going to get legislation which benefits their interests. So we talk about in the United States that every company is supposed to make it on their own. Every company is not supposed to get handouts from the government. Well, in the case of oil and gas, the subsidies amounted to, between 2010 and 2014, $135 billion. In other words, we as taxpayers either gave them tax breaks or gave them the equivalent of $135 billion. So that's certainly worth lobbying over. There are lots and lots of examples of this. Recently, in Pennsylvania, here in our home state, a Shell petrochemical refinery is in line for a $1.6 billion in subsidy. So we are going to pay them $1.6 billion to help build a refinery here. Shell made $26.8 billion last year. So in this situation, you can almost guarantee there is somebody from Pennsylvania on the Energy and Commerce Committee. He will want to keep giving money to Exxon, and Exxon will keep getting electoral support. At the same time, the Department of Energy, the people who enforce the law, they have some say over where the money is spent. Now, if I have a congressman from Pennsylvania, I can keep him happy by making sure that that $1.6 billion goes to Pennsylvania. And in return, the congressman will make sure that the Department of Energy still keeps getting plenty of money to hand out to other interest groups. At the same time, then, the Department of Energy, who is perhaps supposed to be regulating ExxonMobil, will give them low regulation and special favors. And just in case it's not clear, ExxonMobil will keep going back to Congress and making sure that the department gets plenty of money so that the Department of Energy can keep giving money to ExxonMobil. Now, all three of these groups are the experts in the area. It's very hard for anybody else to know anything about it. Who knows more about oil and gas industry than, for example, ExxonMobil, the scientists at the Department of Energy, and the members of Congress who are on the committee? And the answer is nobody. This is why it's called the Iron Triangle.